Up next, it's Albie's argument, and Albie is going to make his case for why it's unacceptable to display racist dolls in pubs. Start the clock.
It's 2023 and I'm about to tell you why it's unacceptable to display golliwogs in pubs. A gollywog is a racist caricature of a black person. If we can get an image of a gollywog for our wonderful viewers, that will really help. So if you display one of these dolls in your home, in your pub, in your place of work, essentially what you're saying is, black people, you're not welcome. It comes from a mentality that thinks that black people's skin, lips, hair is so strange that it warrants taking the mick out of. Now, I was disappointed with the Home Secretary's intervention earlier on this week. Whilst I agree, it does seem like a strange use of police resources to send 5 officers to a pub to go and remove some golliwogs. What she didn't say was that it's completely unacceptable in Britain, the world's leading multiracial democracy, to display gollywog dolls. And besides, shouldn't the Home Secretary have better things to do? Stopping the boats, perhaps?
Well.
So, Darren, I'm interested in your opinion here, because 48% of the public actually disagree with me. They think it's completely fine for gollywog dolls to be displayed. Am I just being a snowflake?
We've just got a picture on the screen there for our radio listeners of one of the dolls themselves. Look, Albie, I don't think you're a snowflake. I think you're perfectly entitled to your own view on that, and to say that you wouldn't use a pub that or any premises that displays these things in their establishment. I think that's a perfectly valid view. But what I would say is, I think 6 officers going into and you've said that you don't think it was proportionate. I couldn't agree more with that. 6 officers that maybe won't show up to a burglary, but will show up to take away some dolls that someone, apparently one complaint, I could be wrong, has said is offensive. So therefore they've pulled that out. So many viewers, Albie, are saying, it looks to me like the police care more about hurt feelings than they do about actually solving crime, and that instead of actually policing the things that matter to everybody, they're focusing on dolls.
And I completely understand that point, Darren, but I suppose the converse argument would be, I think there was a concern that the 1988 Malicious Communications Act had been broken, and if a law has been broken, then it's the police's job to investigate that. But, Benjamin, I'm interested to know your opinion, because is there a free speech argument here? In a free society, should people be allowed to be racist?
Well, free speech doesn't include being racist or homophobic, right? We accepted that boundary a long time ago. And what that means, and the reason that matters, is because it's the distinction between you being able to say what you like, but you being able to say something that diminishes someone else's existence and someone else's ability to lead their life freely. Now, as I understand it from news reports, this pub has tried to find a way around this question by putting a notice on the door saying about the display of these black-faced dolls, and say if you're offended, then it's your choice not to come in. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the message that truly sends is if you're a black person, don't come in here.
I completely agree with you. But Dominic, I'm interested to know, how would you feel if you went to a pub and you saw some gollywog dolls hanging from the ceiling?
I would feel uncomfortable. I've come across gollywog dolls before, and they've made me feel uncomfortable. I think as a black person, and not to sort of segregate on the basis of skin colour. I'm one of the people that speaks out against these sorts of things. But I think if you are a black person, you can see yourself in that doll and how it's intended to represent you. So, overly exaggerated, large pink lips, big white teeth, really black skin, an afro. These are some of the representations of black people that were used in things like minstrel shows. That is how black people were represented, and it was used to demean them. Now, some people do not attribute those negative characteristics because they may have had those dolls as a child and they didn't see anything negative about them. But I think it's naive to separate the negative and racist intention of them from the actual doll.
Emily Carver, do you think that if the pub was displaying anti-Semitic imagery, that we'd even be having a debate about whether or not it was acceptable?
I think it's very difficult because I'm obviously not black, so I don't know how I would feel going into a pub where there were these dolls if I were. I also accept that some people believe them to be something of nostalgia, something they used to play with, something that they never even gave a second thought to about being racist. But we are in 2023 and attitudes have changed and these things are well known to be racist and something that black people don't like. Which is fair enough. But I do think that this shouldn't be a criminal matter. I do not think it is a criminal matter. If it is, the law should not be reaching that far into people's private property, because pubs are private property of those people who own them and run them.
I would agree with that.
But I do think it's, there's been stories time and time again about golliwogs, Tory councillors being sacked for posing with them. A councillor said they weren't racist because they've got smiley little faces, etc., etc. Anyway, it comes back and back time again. Anyway.